These are the Starfall Islands, once home to a highly advanced ancient civilization. As you explore the islands, you uncover the fate of this civilization. You witness a battle from long ago against a seemingly undefeatable enemy. An enemy we know only as the End. What is the End? What makes it so incomprehensibly powerful? And what is its goal? Is there any truth to all the seemingly empty phrases it's spewing at you as you confront it? Or is it just nonsense? You seem to get no clear answer to any of these questions. That is, until you dig a little deeper. I'm here to convince you that the End makes perfect sense as the final encounter. Let's analyze one of the most complex villains in gaming history. Now, we don't get much of a backstory for the End, but let's start by going through what we know. The ancient civilization, that we know simply as the Ancients, had their home planet destroyed by the End, which forced them to seek refuge on Sonic's home planet. But it followed them, and in a last desperate attempt to save their newfound home from total annihilation, they managed to seal the End away in cyberspace, a digital realm of their own creation. Despite that, the few remaining Ancients died out within a generation. Eggman is the first to visit Starfall Islands in present time. He is doing so with the intention of harnessing the technology of the Ancients, and he plans to do so using his latest creation, an artificial intelligence that he refers to as Sage. The island's defense mechanisms are triggered by his attempts, and he ends up in cyberspace. The same fate awaits Sonic and his friends upon their arrival, while in search for the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic manages to escape cyberspace, but in order to free his friends, he needs to defeat the Guardians of the Digital Realm, referred to as the Titans. Sage is sent out by Eggman to bother Sonic on his quest. She is more than capable of causing trouble, but she does not carry out orders like a mindless drone. She appears to form her own opinions on a given situation based on the data she has available, and acts accordingly. We later learn that Eggman's base code for Sage was significantly altered upon coming in contact with the Ancients' technology through cyberspace, making her more advanced to the point where she experiences what humans would describe as emotions. As the Titans are defeated, Sonic's friends are freed from their imprisonment, but so is the End. As it emerges, it takes the form of a celestial sphere. Sonic and Sage, piloting one of the Titans, pursue the End into space, where the final encounter takes place. The End introduces itself with quite an extensive monologue during your encounter. Most of it could easily be discarded as incomprehensible slander rather than anything else, but if we were to take anything away from it, it's that the End is not what it appears to be. It's not the purple moon we see before us. What we're seeing is merely a representation of it. It's something intangible presented as something tangible. The first thing that comes to mind is probably that the End is a representation of death. And I think that it's partially true, but there are a few things that doesn't quite make sense. What would capturing death represent? Immortality? Well, the Ancients still died out, so I guess that theory fails. The End is something more specific. Let's take a closer look at what the End is saying.
Countless stars, countless worlds, countless lives, all fell to me, all brought to nothing.
Aside from the obvious implication of unstoppable destruction, we can assume that the End plagues the entire universe and has done so for a very long time.
You have fought machines and gods. They were mighty. They were finite. I am infinite. I am nothing.
Here the end confirms that what we're seeing is just a three-dimensional representation of something that is outside of what we can perceive in the physical world.
All the teeming chaos of creation brought to order, to neutrality, to nothing.
Now, brought to order is an interesting way to phrase the event of extinction, as if the end is carrying out some kind of maintenance on the universe.
My captors bent time and space. My captors built a whole reality to contain me. My captors burned their souls away to fuel their engines.
Here the end is referring to the Ancients, who managed to capture it before their demise. The phrase of interest here is the last. The Ancients burned their souls away to fuel their engines. One interpretation of this is that the Ancients put their technological progress ahead of their own being.
And you?
You glitter. You fly about me like a gnat.
The end is insulting Sonic as being inferior to the Ancients.
You strike this incarnation with all your might. It changes nothing.
It claims that Sonic's attempt to defeat it will be unsuccessful. Well, is that true?
No matter what form I take, the end comes for you all.
The end implies that it can take many forms, but the end result will be the same: inescapable destruction. Now, let's assume that everything the end says is true. The end is an inescapable force that operates across time and space. It takes many forms, but ultimately brings every civilization it comes for to order. And so it came for the Ancients, who burned their souls away for the sake of technological progress. The end is the Great Filter. To explain what the Great Filter is, we need to talk about the Fermi Paradox. Named after Italian physicist Enrico Fermi, the Fermi Paradox describes the unlikelihood that we have not yet been visited by any extraterrestrial life, given the high probability of intelligent life existing elsewhere in the universe. There are billions of stars in the Milky Way alone. The probability of some of these stars having solar systems with habitable planets is high. Many of these stars are much older than the Sun, and their solar systems could potentially have developed intelligent life long before we came into existence. These ancient lifeforms would likely have progressed further in technology than we have, and would probably have investigated interstellar travel as we do now. Even with currently known theoretical means of interstellar travel, the Milky Way could have been completely traversed in a few million years. Given the large time frame, it seems likely that Earth would have been visited at some point in time. Yet, there is no convincing evidence suggesting that this is the case. Several resolutions to this paradox have been theorized since its conception in 1950, one of them being the Great Filter. It was formulated in 1996 by American economist Robin Hanson. It describes a barrier past which a civilization struggles to progress. The necessary evolutionary path for a lifeform to achieve interstellar travel is divided into 9 steps. The right star system, a world with a habitable environment. Reproductive molecules, the simplest form of life as we know it. Simple prokaryotic single-cell life, such as bacteria. Complex eukaryotic single-cell life, like yeast for example. Sexual reproduction. Not really sure what this step means. Multicell life, such as humans and carrots. Tool-using animals with intelligence. Animals that can process information and apply to action. A civilization advancing towards the potential for a colonization explosion, where the human race is now. Colonization explosion. Interstellar colonization on a large scale. The Great Filter theory implies that at least one of these steps is highly improbable, thereby halting a civilization's progress towards interstellar colonization. As the human race is currently at step 8, we can assume that it is this step that is exceedingly difficult to pass. The Ancients were at step 8, and we know that they were approaching step 9 as they did in fact manage to travel to and colonize at least one new planet. And so, the end came for them. The Great Filter does not allow any civilization to pass step 8. As it claims, the end can take many forms. Let's explore what that means. The end is the upholder of the concept that a civilization cannot achieve an interstellar colonization explosion. Their technological progress must be halted at all cost before that happens. How this is accomplished can vary, but extinction is no doubt a reliable way to do it. We do not know exactly what caused the extinction of the Ancients, as we do not get to witness the form the end takes upon destroying their world. But whatever it may be, the consequences are a direct result of their technological progress. The end is just a symbol of their self-inflicted fate. So the Ancients managed to capture the end in cyberspace before their demise. Let's take a look at what that means. The Ancients perished. Why does the end linger? It did its job, it brought the Ancients to order. Well, the Ancients are gone, but their technology isn't. Let's jump back to modern day. Knowing what we know now, why has the end reappeared? Is it perhaps this civilization's time to be brought to order? But why is Sonic confronting the end? He is certainly not representing technological progress. For as long as we have known him, he has been the main opposing force to Eggman's technocratic empire. The end tells Sonic, you strike this incarnation with all your might, it changes nothing. Once again, the end is telling the truth. Sonic cannot defeat the end by attacking the incarnation that he sees. And he doesn't. Sage does. It is not until Sage sacrifices herself that the end is ultimately defeated. So why could Sage defeat the end, but Sonic couldn't? Let's talk about the end of the human race. The Future of Humanity Institute at the University of Oxford conducted a global catastrophic risk survey in 2008, where the most likely causes of human extinction before the year 2100 are listed. The overall likelihood of human extinction before the year 2100 was estimated to 19%. And here is the list of the top candidates for causing this extinction. On shared first place, we have super intelligent AI. Do we know any of those? Sage is a highly advanced, highly capable artificial intelligence, governed by emotions she does not fully understand. She could be considered a good candidate. No matter her intentions, the technology that she embodies, a combination of the technological progress of a highly advanced ancient civilization and the mind of one of the greatest technological geniuses of modern day, is one that could end the civilization. She is an extinction entity, if you will. Sage is not destroying some fake moon to defeat the end. She is destroying herself. In doing so, the threat of extinction has been vanquished. The end has been defeated. Now, one question that comes to mind is, did Sage know that this was how it had to end as she decided to follow Sonic into space? And did Eggman know, as he gave her permission? Their farewell sure seemed like a final goodbye.
I know what I must do. I must leave you.
I understand. Go. Fulfill your function.
So now that we know that the end is just a concept, a consequence of one's own doings, the question is, who is the real villain here? Is it Sonic, who will stop at nothing to rescue his friends, even if it means releasing a seemingly unstoppable force of destruction upon the world? Is it Sage, an extinction entity doing everything she can to protect her dear father? Is it the Ancients, who in a desperate attempt to save themselves from extinction, brought the end to this world? Or is it Eggman, for creating a tool to harvest the technology of the Ancients, without any malicious intentions whatsoever? Okay, but the point here is that all of them, unknowingly, without intention, contributed to something far beyond any of their control, the resurrection of the end. The end is the enemy that lives in our actions, undefined until it's too late. A force of nature beyond our control, like a curse that plagues all intelligent life, with at least one very obvious cure.